Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to the first session of Oxford Brookes University and ACCA information session. You all know that the relationship between Oxford Brookes University and ACCA has been really strong, and it has been helping students across the world to achieve their BSc in applied accounting. I'm really thankful to Dr. Kate, who has joined us. I'll give you a brief profile because Kate has graduated from Oxford University. She's a qualified chartered accountant with Pricewaterhouse London, where she specializes in technical training for audit practice. So I think you all can easily relate to her. Within Oxford Brookes University Business School, Kate has taught a range of finance modules and is now the program lead BSc Applied Accounting. We all know that BSc Applied Accounting is a unique partnership, and it has been assisting and helping students since a long time in Pakistan, especially because I am an ACCA member myself as well. Many of the students have already met me and have seen me talking. So the ones who don't know me, my name is Sidra Haq, and I'm the Education Manager North in ACCA. And this session is specifically about Oxford Brookes University. I would request you all that any of your friends who is planning to do it in future, in next 2 to 3 months, in next 6 months, ask them to join in this session as soon as possible, so that you can ask the maximum question from the program lead herself, because the way she will be able to help you, no one else would be able to help you as well. We will be posting the recording for this session as well for the students who are unable to join in, so you can forward it to them. But I would still request, ask your friends to join in right now and personally ask the question from Dr. Kate herself. Write your questions into the chat box. As soon as we get a slot of question and answers, I'm going to take your questions to Dr. Kate, and she will be the one who will be answering them. Once again, thank you very much, Kate, for joining in. And I will give the mic to you. I'll hand over the session to you so you can begin and give the children a lot of information about Oxford Brookes University.
Thank you. Thank you, Sidra, and welcome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the information session, talking a bit about the BSc Applied Accounting and the collaboration between Oxford Brookes University and ACCA. So just if I go back to the first slide, the pictures on the first slide there were actually a couple of pictures of our campus, I just want to tell you a little bit more about Oxford Brookes' partnership with ACCA. Just in case you don't know what the BSc Honours Applied Accounting is about, I've got some information about that and the information about eligibility. So making sure that you're actually eligible to participate. I then was going to focus on the November 2020 submission and talk a little bit about topics and dates and mentors, and then finish the session by talking about what we call academic integrity, and making sure that you don't inadvertently fall foul of any of the rules about plagiarism or cheating. And linked to that is obviously the support and guidance that is available to you as you work through your RAP, your research and analysis project. Moving on then, the Oxford Brookes partnership with ACCA. Well, it started in the year 2000. We're celebrating 20 years of the partnership this year, and the ethos, the reason for the partnership, and the reason I believe it's been so successful is that it provides access to higher education for people who are studying on that professional route, and it's providing opportunity for all. Oxford Brookes University is actually one of the top 40 higher education institutions in the UK. We have 18,000 students who are studying with Oxford Brookes, and most of those are studying in Oxford. And the gentleman you can see on screen there is the Vice-Chancellor of the university. So what then is the BSc Honours in Applied Accounting? Well, it's a combination of the ACCA Knowledge and Skills papers, the Ethics and Professional Skills module, and the research and analysis project. So how did we actually come up with this? How did we devise the applied accounting degree? Well, in the UK, higher education is regulated by what we call the Quality Assurance Agency, and they have something called benchmarking statements. And the benchmarking statements tell us what a graduate of an accounting program should look like, what skills, what competencies they should have, what technical knowledge they should have. So it defines the content of the undergraduate degree. And here on screen, you can see a picture. That's what the benchmark statement actually looks like. So what we did is we looked at the ACCA knowledge and skills papers and the ethics and professional skills module and thought about what bits are missing. So when you look at an undergraduate student and you look at somebody on their professional qualification route, what do we need to provide to the professional qualification student that would make them the undergraduate student? And so we therefore came up with this thing called the Research and Analysis Project. And that ensures that you have the skill set that is the skill set of a graduate of a higher education qualification. And it enables you to enhance your skills by providing the opportunity to develop a slightly wider range of skills than you would develop just by doing your examinations. So you have the opportunity to do an extended piece of work, which is a project management, and you are able to develop the skill of managing your own time. You have to find out information for yourself. You have to analyze and evaluate information and have the critical and skepticism skills that are needed in a professional accountant. And obviously you develop report writing skills and presentation skills. And these skills are really important to employers. So the benchmarking statements that, remember, drive what's in the research and analysis project are developed by employers so that when somebody has an accounting qualification, employers have told us what they actually think they want from graduates. So the skills that you are developing are employment skills and also really useful for your strategic professional papers. So the skills that you need in particularly strategic business leader, things like report writing, collating information together, analysing and evaluating, are the skills that you can develop in your research and analysis project. Because obviously you're working as an undergraduate student when you're completing your BSc Applied Accounting, you do actually need to develop some academic skills as well. So the academic skills that you develop are research and referencing. So let's just now think about the ACCA examination, just think about the eligibility requirements. So I'm just going to think about the eligibility requirements. I'm just going to go back here so that we can move on to the next slide and think about eligibility requirements. In order to be eligible to do the BSc Applied Accounting, you need to complete all the knowledge and skills papers. You can have exemptions in the ACCA knowledge papers, and you can have exemptions for tax, performance management, and law in your applied skills papers. You must pass as ACCA examinations financial reporting, audit and assurance, and financial management. And the reason we've set the degree up like that is because Oxford Brookes is actually involved in the quality assurance processes associated with ACCA exams. So when you do financial reporting, audit and assurance, and financial management, because Oxford Brookes has been involved in the setting and the quality assurance processes, they're actually Oxford Brookes assessments as well. So the degree is actually made up of the examinations being Oxford Brookes assessments as well as the research and analysis project. You also need to make sure that you have completed the ethics and professional skills module. So the ethics and professional skills module is a really important part of your preparation for your research and analysis project. In ethics and professional skills, there are units on commercial awareness, personal effectiveness. There is a unit about communication where you'll learn a bit about how to make a presentation, which you obviously need later on in your studies. There's also a unit on data analytics and how you can develop your spreadsheeting skills. So you need to have completed the ethics and professional skills module. You also need to be what we call opted in to the BSc Applied Accounting. So you can check your Oxford Brookes University status on your My ACCA page. In the past, we have automatically opted students into the Oxford Brookes University programme, but you may have inadvertently ticked a box and opted out. If you do want to opt back into the programme, please contact students at acccaglobal.com. So check your My ACCA page so that you can find out whether you're actually opted into the programme. The final eligibility requirement is that you have 10 years in which to complete your degree. Now, because the ACCA examinations, the applied knowledge and applied skills papers are part of this degree, we start counting the 10 years from the date at which you pass your first exam or are awarded your first exemption. And you have 10 years in which to submit and pass your RAP from that date. So please, if you are getting towards the end of 10 years since you started your ACCA journey, do think about how you might fit in your research and analysis project. We had in the past a requirement around English proficiency. That no longer exists. If you are accepted as an ACCA student, then your English proficiency is sufficient to join the programme. But please do remember that ACCA have lots of resources on business English available on their website because the research and analysis project is a large piece of written work. So you do need to be reasonably competent in your business English, but you do not need to have passed an IELTS qualification. Students also often ask about when can they take their when can they do the research and analysis project, when to do the BSc. Well, the time that you, the earliest point at which you can do your BSc is once you've finished the applied knowledge and skills papers and completed the ethics and professional skills module. So that's the earliest point at which you can do your BSc. But you could, if you wanted to, complete the BSc after you've completed your strategic professional papers, assuming that you are within the 10 years. And some people have even told me that they've completed their research and analysis project in between strategic professional papers. So some people have started some of their strategic professional, strategic reporting or strategic business leader, then completed their BSc and then moved on to their options paper. It is very, very flexible. The only thing to consider is that 10-year rule. So do think about the 10-year rule. Okay, so let's now think a little bit more about what is actually involved in the research and analysis project. So what's included? Well, the research and analysis project is divided into two parts. We have a research report and a skills and learning statement. And projects can be submitted in November and May within each academic year. So our next submission period is November 2020, and then the following one, May 2021. In terms of how much does it cost, the cost of submission for the academic year 2020-2021 is £420. You are required to work with a mentor, and your mentor may make a charge as well. So please discuss what the mentor charge might be with whoever is providing you with mentor support. The research report is up to 7,500 words, and through your research report you need to demonstrate an understanding and application of accounting and business knowledge and techniques. And then you evaluate financial and non-financial information, and you have to demonstrate the academic skills of referencing. The key thing here is actually that combination of accounting and business knowledge. So when we think back into the ethics and professional skills module, the business acumen unit there is thinking about how does a professional accountant actually have a slightly wider view of the business world, and how might they support businesses not only through technical knowledge of accounting or tax or leases or whatever, but also through an understanding of how business operates. So one of the advantages potentially of completing a research and analysis project is to develop that wider thinking around the connection between accounting and business. Because, as I say, that is what the professional accountant needs when they move into the workplace. So the research report is based upon one of 20 topics. Well, everybody says to me, why 20 topics? Well, it's so that we can cover the whole ACCA syllabus. So you are able to study areas of the ACCA syllabus in more depth than you might have done in your examinations. And sometimes people say, well, how the hell do I choose? So I would suggest you think about what interests you, what do you want to learn about, but also think about what information you have access to. So thinking about the link between a topic area and whether or not it's primary or secondary data, and whether or not you have information about a particular organisation. On the Oxford Brookes website, we have a series of resources in the form of various articles and PDFs that you can download. There is one there looking at each of the topics and identifying whether or not primary data collection is required. So that's, if you're thinking about wanting to do some primary data collection, it's worth looking at which topics work well with primary data collection. And also just thinking about the current worldwide situation, Oxford Brookes University requires all research to be conducted remotely at the moment. So if you are thinking about conducting face-to-face research, it's got to be virtually. So you've got to do virtual interviews, so Skype interviews or Zoom or WhatsApp or whatever medium you use. But because of the pandemic, there should be no face-to-face meetings that would put the research participants or the researcher in danger. So most people, when they are working on their research topic, pick what we call topic 8. Topic 8 is a investigation as to the it's an investigation of the financial and business performance of an organisation over a 3-year period. For topic 8, we have particular industry sectors that you must work with. And the industry sectors that we are using this year are the same industry sectors as we used last year. So it's automobiles, media, and industrial transportation. The reason we have kept the industry sectors the same is because we're very aware that students' preparation for their submission might have been disturbed by the pandemic. And also with the suspension of the June exam sittings, people might be working on a research and analysis project instead of working and studying for their June exam sitting. And I didn't want people who have invested a lot of time and effort in looking at particular sectors for them then to change. So for this year, and it is a consequence of the COVID-19 situation, we are maintaining the industry sectors as they were last year. Please be mindful of the fact that that does mean that other people will have worked on these industry sectors. We, of course, do have very robust processes in place for making sure we retain all research projects that are submitted, and we are able to use a text matching software to check whether or not any new submissions have been copied from previous submissions. So the fact that we've kept the industry sectors the same does not mean that it's sensible to copy what other people have done in the past. You will end up in an academic conduct investigation. The picture here is the information pack. So the information pack is a really important source of information about what to do. It's got all the information about eligibility and the requirements of the research and analysis project, and information about the assessment criteria. You know, how do we mark your work? That is now available from the ACCA website. So please make sure you've got a copy of the most up-to-date information pack. One of the questions that people ask, and one of the things to think about when you're thinking about which topic and which organisation, is to think about the requirement for finding information. So the assessment criteria requires you to gather information, because that is the skill of being a researcher. So we're often asked the question about how much information and where do you find information? Well, the assessment criteria are clear in that you must use at least 2 different types of sources. So that means you must use newspaper articles and a study text, or a competitor in industry commentary from maybe somebody working around a stock exchange, so investor commentary, and maybe a academic article or academic commentary. So you can't rely on a single source. You can't rely just on what the organisation is saying about itself, because we all know that organisations will present the view of information that they want the public to see. So if you're thinking about the way in which an organisation is explaining its financial performance or its business performance over time, the organisation will want to present one view of why their performance is in a particular way. It might be very good or it might be very poor, but there might be other people that have other views as to why the performance is as it has happened. And your job as a researcher is to go and find that information, find out about what different people are saying about the organisation, because then you will want to evaluate those different views and analyse those different views and show that you can form a judgment as to which of those views you think is more accurate. So when you're thinking about the organisation that you want to research, you need to have information on which to evaluate and build a critical argument. If you choose an organisation that is a very private organisation or a very small organisation, you may find there is not sufficient information publicly available. So one of my recommendations is that you do a quick Google search on the organisation that you think you want to work on and just see how much information is returned on an internet search. If there's lots of information, then you're going to have plenty of material to work with. If you type an organisation name in and you only get 2 or 3 articles or bits of information returned, you're not going to have enough information to build your argument. So think a little bit about which organisations you want to investigate. There is no requirement to investigate organisations from your own country. You could use this as an opportunity to look at a multinational organisation or organisations that operate in different countries. So the next area I was going to look at was dates. So we said when we considered the research report and the submission periods, we would look at the dates. So this is an extract from the submission pack in the information pack. As you can see here, we, because of COVID-19, we have removed the requirement and having a deadline for completing your applied knowledge and skills exams. In the past, we said you needed to have completed your applied knowledge and skills exams 2 months, 3 months before the submission period, because we didn't want students to rush their submissions. And if they had just finished their exams and only left themselves a month in which to complete the work, they were unlikely to pass. But the reason we've removed that particular deadline is because we recognise that with the cancellation of the June exams, some people may have chosen to start work on their research project instead of revising for a June exam. They might then take an exam in September and be in a position to submit in November. So please remember, the requirement is that you have completed all your applied knowledge and applied skills papers. There is now no restriction about when you have finished those exams. You must also have completed the ethics and professional skills module. You cannot submit when you are waiting for results. And you can see here the timeline for the next submission period. So the next area I was going to focus on is what support is available for students whilst they're studying on their research and analysis project. Well, all students are required to work with a project mentor. So the mentor, your mentor, must be either an ACCA member, an employer or line manager, or a tutor at a learning provider, college or university. All of the mentors must have completed the Oxford Brookes online mentoring course, and the Oxford Brookes website now has a spreadsheet list of mentors in different regions. So in terms of finding a mentor, some people follow advice of their friends, recommendations. Lots of people will use mentors at their learning provider. But if you're struggling to find a mentor, please do have a look at the Oxford Brookes website, and there is a list of available mentors there. The requirement is that a mentor must hold a minimum of 3 30-minute meetings with the student. And we do ask that the mentors confirm that the meetings have taken place and that the work that has been submitted is the student's own work. Again, we've had to make a few amendments because of the pandemic, and because of the social distancing restrictions in various territories. We are requiring that mentoring, including the presentation, must be conducted online. And if you have a look at the student accountant, I've written a couple of articles in there about what that means in terms of reflecting on the skills and learning statement. In terms of working with your mentor, please remember your mentor is a guide for you on your RAP journey. Your mentor is not your teacher, and they certainly are not the person that you've employed to write the work for you. We do occasionally hear of poor behaviour from mentors in that they encourage students into poor practice. But it's your responsibility as a student to make sure that the work that you submit to Oxford Brookes is your own work. One of the most important things for me as the programme lead in this programme is to ensure that there is good ethical behaviour of students. So making sure that students submit work that is their own work is really, really important to me. And it's important for a couple of reasons. We're all accountants, or we all aspire to be accountants. And for my mind, one of the most important behaviours of an accountant is that they behave ethically. And if a student is prepared to submit work that is not their own work, maybe it's work that they've copied from somebody else, or it's work that somebody else has written for them, or they've paid somebody else to write that work, that is cheating, and that's unethical behaviour. And I don't really think that person is suitable to join the profession that is a profession that is based on ethics and integrity. I also would urge you to think about what the degree means. So when you are awarded a degree, you want to know that you've been awarded that degree based on the fact that you've done the work that was necessary. You've completed your examinations and you've completed the research and analysis project. You also want to know that other people that are maybe at graduation with you are people who have done their own work as well. So please remember that academic integrity is a really important concept at Oxford Brookes University. So just for clarification, when we talk about cheating, we don't just mean poor referencing. So plagiarism and inadvertently using other people's words as if they're your own is one form of unethical behaviour. But also, unethical behaviour and cheating includes copying another student's work, using a pre-prepared version of the research report or the skills and learning statement or a spreadsheet. We often call this a template. So if you are provided, if you have access to somebody else's spreadsheet that they used in a previous submission period and just change the numbers, then you are not completing the work yourself. You haven't had to think about which formulas to use. You haven't had to think about how you might lay out that spreadsheet. So using a pre-prepared version of any of the submission documents is cheating. Using a pre-prepared list of references is another reason that students might be considered to be acting unethically. Allowing or asking your mentor to write, edit any of your research report, spreadsheet or presentation is also considered to be cheating because it's not your own work. And at the really serious end of cheating is where you are submitting a piece of work that you have paid somebody else to write for you, or buying You know, we know there are internet sources out there that will sell research and analysis projects and claim that they won't get spotted, but they will. If you submit a pre-written RAP, then that is also cheating. And I personally find it very difficult to believe that a student can inadvertently have managed to submit work that they have paid somebody else to complete for them. That is very unethical behaviour, and I work very hard to make sure I can find people that are doing that. So how do we go about ensuring the academic integrity of our programme? We have a dedicated team of specialists who review the research and analysis projects. They are very experienced at spotting common methods of cheating. We also use computer software to check what we call text matching. So we run all of our projects through text matching software. We can see where they match to other students' work. We can see where similar phrases have been used. We don't have a threshold. So students often ask us, do you have a Turnitin percentage that you work to? We don't. We use it to establish how a piece of work has been constructed. If a student is suspected of acting unethically, then they will be interviewed about their project. If they're found guilty, they will be suspended from the university and may be excluded from the ACCA membership. And we will carry out investigations even after we have made an award. So if somebody has been awarded a degree and then we uncover information that suggests that award was made on the basis of cheating, we will take the degree back. So resources. Sometimes when we talk to students who have behaved poorly, they say, well, I didn't know where to look, I didn't know what to do, I was looking at somebody else's work because I didn't know where to start. So what resources are available to you to help you? Well, the information pack, as I've already mentioned, is one of the resources, and that is really important to read. We also have webinars, and we have a series of webinars that are taking you through the process of your research report. So we have one about getting started, one about analysis and evaluation, how do I write my skills and learning statement, and also getting ready for submitting the tips and hints. Those resources will be made available to you, that you can register on the Oxford Brookes website. You'll get emails from the ACCA about those. And the website, just to show you what the website looks like. If you go onto this web address, this is where we now upload all the documents and information that we're producing to support you in terms of your qualification. And how we can help you. So you've got the links to the webinars, you've got lots and lots of articles that I've written in Student Accountant to support you into your studying your research and analysis project. So that's enough from me. I think now it's time for me to try and answer some of your questions. So I think it's over to Cedra to help me to ask on your behalf some of the different questions.
Yes, Kate, we have a lot of questions which are popping up. Let me know if you'll be able to answer them. I will ask you the questions one by one, and to the students again, I will request that put on your questions into the chat boxes, and we are going to ask Dr. Kate to answer you about them. Kate, can you specifically tell the students about the IELTS request that was a requirement earlier?
Yeah, so the IELTS was a requirement earlier. It is no longer a requirement. There is no requirement to submit any evidence of English proficiency. If you're accepted onto your ACCA professional journey, studying your applied skills and applied knowledge exams, then that's absolutely sufficient for Oxford Brookes. So no IELTS is required.
Okay, one of the student is saying that even if IELTS is not required, his exam results shows that he's not eligible for OBU.
He needs to contact ACCA students and to ask them what the issue is, and also if he needs to contact ACCA at brooks.ac.uk, and we'll try and
Okay.
help.
So I'll just look who he or she was. Yes, Essen. Essen, you need to contact ACCA helpline, or you can email to customer services, and they're going to help you into this. There's this student Muhammad Farhan. He's asking what is the grading assessment procedure.
So the grading assessment procedure is based on the combination of your average mark in your ACCA examinations and the grade that you get on your research and analysis project. All the information about how that actually works is in the information pack, and I'm just looking for my information pack to tell you which page, but I can't remember. So it's at the back of the information pack.
Okay.
The better
So
you do in your ACCA exams, the better you'll do overall.
okay, so Farhan, you need to download the ACCA information, Oxford Brookes University information pack from ACCA website. You will go to the ACCA website and search for Oxford Brookes University information pack. You're going to get it there. Then there's a student Maheen. Maheen is asking what are the requirements for applying into this program.
So the requirements are that you have completed all your applied knowledge and applied skills exams. You've within 10 years of starting, and that you've completed your ethics and professional skills module. That you're on your My ACCA page. It says you're opted in, and once that is the case, you then submit your research and analysis project. You don't have to register in advance. The only point at which effectively we know that you're going to be applying for the BSc Applied Accounting is when you submit your report.
Perfect. For the students, one thing that I would like to mention here is that when you log into your My ACCA accounts, there is a complete statement that you're logged in, that you are eligible for this Oxford Brookes University degree or not, or before transferring into ACCA, if there any student who is in foundation diploma right now, make sure that you are opted into BSc, which every student is, unless you go and uncheck that box and get opted out of that degree. That's rarest chance, but do look into that, and if there is a by chance you have opted out of yourself out of that Oxford Brookes University, contact customer services into ACCA so they can help you out. Then there is another question. Can it be possible to apply for this degree if the audit and assurance paper has been exempted? Sunny is asking about it. If AAA is exempted. No. So Sunny, you'll have to forfeit your exemption and give ACCA's audit and assurance exam. Okay, Myra is asking if someone has completed this Oxford Brookes University degree and unable to run intermediate. Myra, this is something which is related to our local government structure. Yes, you are eligible for this bachelor's degree even if you have not completed your intermediate. Then there is another student, Hussein. Hussein is asking, does this degree count as a 4-year study? Again, Hussein, considering the Pakistan circumstances, the equivalence of this degree is 3 years for anyone coming from the normal intermediate route and 4 years for someone who's coming from A-levels route. That is as per the policy of HEC. Then there is another question. Yes, this is for you, Kate. Muhammad Umar is asking, I wanted to know by when can you complete your thesis, like, for example, before which paper you should be able to complete this thesis?
So you can start work on the research project at any point you want to, but you can only submit it when you finished your applied knowledge and applied skills exams. In terms of if you want to submit it after you've done some strategic professional papers, that's absolutely fine. There's a lot of flexibility in the degree. The two rules to think about are you've got 10 years from the start of your applied knowledge first exemption or first exam. You've got 10 years to submit and pass, and then you've got to have done applied knowledge and applied skills before you submit. Other than that, you can go after strategic professional, in the middle of strategic professional, whichever you want.
Okay, the similar question is asked by Saad. He's asking the students who are going to attempt F9 exam, financial management exam, basically in September, will they be eligible for applying for OBU degree in November session?
You can, if you have already started, if you started work on your research and an analysis project now, and we're thinking about doing lots of work now before taking your financial management exam in September, then I would suggest you might be ready to submit in November. If you haven't done any work and you do financial management in September, you haven't got, I don't think, enough time between September and November to actually complete the project. You would be better spending a bit more time on the project and submitting in May. So it's a
Great.
bit about whether or not you've done. We normally say that students spend 2 to 3 months on their research project before submission.
That's a minimum. Yeah, that's a minimum.
That's a minimum.
That's a minimum. Saad, I would also recommend that when you're doing this, because you will be giving your exam in September and probably your results will be out, and that will also be a case because as Kate has mentioned, when you're done with your skill level exams, then you're eligible for giving your Oxford Brookes University degree. So in November, yes, as per the requirements, if you pass the exam, you are eligible for it. But considering, as Kate has already guided you, you must have been working before November, not waiting for the result to come and then start working for the project. Then it is something which is a good thing. Ali is asking about the fee of OBU. Ali, you can find it when you reach on Oxford Brookes University Park page and Oxford Brookes University website as well. If you would want to add something into it, Kate. Fee.
Yeah, no, the fee for next year is £420. And one of the reasons I would suggest that you're careful about making sure you've done enough work before you submit is that you want to pass. You don't want to have to pay the fee twice. So rather than rush a November submission, think about whether you've done enough work for May to submit in May. That would be my advice. You want to be ready to submit.
Sure. Zainab, she's again asking about IELTS. Zainab, IELTS is no more a requirement. Then Samir is asking, could you please shed some light regarding resubmission of RAP along with SLS?
Yes, so resubmission of the RAP. So if you're not successful at the first submission, assuming there is no issues around academic integrity, so that you will receive feedback on any of the criteria, the assessment criteria that you haven't passed. The criteria that you have passed will move forward with you. So you can't fail on an area that you've passed in the past. So for example, if your spreadsheet's great, then you would have passed your information technology section. You can't then fail on that. So you work on the area that you haven't reached the pass standard. Really often it's analysis, evaluation and writing. So that's why one of the webinars is about analysis and evaluation, because we know students find that hard. So you improve your analysis, it becomes less descriptive and more analytical. You resubmit, you do pay the fee again, and then hopefully that's of a pass standard. If you have been if there's concerns about what we call academic integrity, so if we think there's cheating, one of the penalties is that you have to resubmit a new topic and a new organisation. So you basically start from scratch, and none of your previous passes in any of the criteria are carried forward. There is a resubmission guide, and that's available on the ACCA website as well.
Okay.
Oh,
so there's a complete resubmission guide that you can download. Kamal, you're asking for the presentation. The recording of this webinar will be available and will be sent in a link to you. So yes, the presentation will be available for you. Then Sunny is asking, is there any scholarship policy for this degree?
We do offer bursaries, so that in the information pack, we will the bursary information about the bursaries is in section page 47 of the information pack. We offer 5 bursaries each submission period. I think the deadline is the 1st of July. So make sure you download the information pack now and have a look and get an application in. The bursary covers the submission fee. You are still
Great.
responsible for sorting out a mentor.
Okay, Sheroz, you have asked about that it's in your account that you're not eligible for OBU. We have told you that you need to finish all your skill level exams before being eligible. You have only remaining PM and FM, so you need to complete them before you get eligible for this. Financial support, Muhammad Asani he has answered that you need to apply before July. There is a complete guide that's been provided into the submission pack. Then Amina is asking after how many months after giving the 3 exams of F7, F8, and F9 we would give opted into the program.
So once you've completed the exams, our recommendation is that you spend between 3 and 4 months working on the research and analysis project, and then submit the research and analysis project. That's roughly how long students tell us it takes to do the project well.
So Amina, you are opted into this program since the very start of ACCA. Being eligible for this program, you need to finish your skill level exams, and as Kate is guiding you, you need 3 to 4 months to complete this process. So it's better when you give your exams, you take a break of 3 to 4 months before submitting this thesis. Then Asha is asking, can we get the from where will we get samples of the RAP?
So we don't provide full samples of the RAP because we are worried that students will think that there's only one way of answering or producing a research project. The exciting thing about the research project is that you can choose any organisation, the topic that interests you, and you can structure the way that you produce your report the way you want to. There is some guidance in the information pack about a suggested structure, but it's guidance, it's not prescriptive. We think that if we provide a full template, full example of a RAP, students will only think that's the only way that you can do well. Students, you can do well in lots of different ways. You need to meet the assessment criteria to pass. It doesn't say how you have to do that. You just need to demonstrate those skills. So we don't produce full examples. What I'm producing is some articles for the website and for Student Accountant that is trying to show students what we mean by the assessment criteria. So if I'm saying writing needs to be evaluative, not descriptive, I want to show you what descriptive writing looks like and what evaluative writing looks like so you can see the difference between them. So have a look at the resources on the website. And have a look at please look at the webinars. The 4 webinars are also designed to help you develop the skills that you need. And don't think there's only one way of getting the right answer.
True. Yes. Okay, one of the students asking, is the information pack free of cost? Yes, it is free of cost and available freely on ACCA website. You're going to go and download it from there. Kate, a student is asking if he or she fails, does he have to pay the full fee in the resubmission?
Yes, it is the full fee on the resubmission.
That's why Kate is again telling you that be sure about what you have done in your thesis before submitting it. So don't rush it. Take your time and do it with the full strength. Then a student is asking how many plagiarism is allowed, or quoting the information from the different resources.
Sorry, how many?
Plagiarism.
Plagiarism. We don't have a percentage of plagiarism that we investigate. Every time a marker marks a RAP, they look at the Turnitin report. So you might see a match of, say, 20%. If that matches to 25 different sources, then I'm not concerned that somebody has been copying big chunks of any particular source. If it's a 20% match and it matches 3 different sources, then I would worry that there has been a lot of copying or copying pasting. So we look at the nature of the matches, not a percentage. And every single RAP is looked at in that way. So, and one of the most worrying statistics I see is if there's no matches. Because if you've written 7,500 words and you haven't managed to use the same phrase as someone else, then that seems very strange. My work, when I
Okay.
look at my work in Turnitin, it still comes up with a 10 or 15% match.
Yes, yes. Okay, as a student is asking, what if the 10-year period has lapsed? So what's the process? Is there any possibility? Not a possibility? No.
Sorry.
So the clear answer is there is no possibility. We have told you about the grading assessment procedure. Shoaib is asking what is the average passing grade?
The average pass rate at the moment is 64%. So we have a pass rate of
Okay.
64%. I'm hoping that with my webinars and my writing lots of articles and doing question and answer sessions like this, that pass rate will go up. So work hard, guys.
We hope for that as well. We hope for that as well. Now, Essen is asking how can you check for opt-in status? Essen, you need to log into your My ACCA account, and there is a complete section that tells you that you're opted into this degree or you have opted out. And I've again been telling you that you can only opt out if you have selected to opt out of the degree. Else, every ACCA student is already opted into this degree. Okay, Abdullah is asking how much information should be gathered for any minimum requirement.
So have a look at the assessment criteria. You need to use at least 2 different sources. So it has to be newspaper articles and textbooks or some other sources. You can't rely just on the annual reports. The quality of your evaluation is often linked to how many sources you've read.
Great. Shaista is asking about the deadlines to submit. Those deadlines are also mentioned into the OBU information pack if you download it from Oxford Brookes University or ACCA website. So these deadlines are mentioned into there, even if you have missed something from this session. Okay. Altamash, if you are an ACCA student along with the your local qualification that you are taking, then yes, you are eligible for this degree. Okay, Ajazim, you're asking about ACCA supporting you in the preparation of OBU. There are specific mentors who are there who are going to support you directly. ACCA as an organization directly has no role in supporting the students. It's through the mentors, registered mentors that OBU has in Pakistan or abroad. They are going to help you. Deadlines, we have again told you. Yes, Kate, please.
So there are mentors that work online, so you can look at online mentors. Your tuition provider might have some mentors available through the learning provider. Alongside the mentors, don't forget that you've got the access to webinars and articles that I'm producing to help you and support you in getting your RAP to the right standard.
Yes. Muhammad Ali is asking, is there any attempt limit?
3 attempts. There's
3 attempts, Muhammad.
3 attempts.
Okay. Then Sana, you have to log into my ACCA account to see if you're eligible or not right now. Then Muhammad Ali, there's a lot of students who have given the questions, but they are repeating, so I'm not asking the questions again and again. Yes, about professional ethics module before sitting exams and before OBU. If you can tell about that, Kate.
So the ethics and professional skills module is a requirement. You must have completed that before you submit your research and analysis projects. There's 2 reasons. One, if you're going to do research, we need to know that you've done some ethics training. But more importantly, the ethics and professional skill module has some really, really good stuff in it that will support you. So the business acumen unit that's in the ethics and professional skills module looks at a SWOT and a PESTLE, which are both what we call models that you would use in doing your research and analysis project. So there's some really, really good stuff in the ethics and professional skills module. It's a requirement, you must do it, but you must do it for membership anyway. So it's a bit about when you're doing it.
Okay, then there's a student who is asking, does ACCA marks count into the degree for Oxford Brookes University?
The ACCA exam marks do count, because when we calculate your classification, it's a combination of the average ACCA exam mark and the grade that you get in the RAP. That is covered in the information pack in Appendix 9. Appendix 9, it's about page 86 of the information pack, tells you how that grade is calculated.
Okay, then there is a student who is asking how many credit hours of completing OBU are available, and can he apply for AICPA after OBU?
Credit
hours are, I think, mentioned into the pack as well. Credit hours are mentioned in the pack where,
yeah, they are mentioned in
because
the pack.
Yep. So you need to download the pack. If you've not missed anything out of this session, please download the Oxford Brookes University information pack from ACCA website. Then another student is asking, apart from listed companies, which companies they can, if there is a company which is local, can they use that into the RAP?
If you're thinking about doing topic 8, then I would suggest that you're better looking at a national company or an international company, because you need to have other evidence, not just the annual report. So if you're thinking about a small local company, there might not be enough other commentary. You won't have commentary from investors, you won't have newspaper articles that can support your analysis, and you're unlikely to be able to do the evaluation that you need to.
Then there is a question, who is eligible to be a mentor?
It's got to be an ACCA member, a tutor at a learning provider, or if you're in employment, your line manager. The person must have completed the Oxford Brookes online mentoring course.
Okay, then we have answered about ethics module and skill paper. Yes, Asani, you are already opted into this degree, but as we have repeated many times that you need to complete your skill level exams before getting into this degree, so you're not eligible until you give that. Ghulam is asking, will the degree be recognized anywhere in the world?
Recognition depends on which country. So it will be recognised in the UK and Europe. If you're applying to universities in the States or Australia or Canada, it depends on the individual universities' entrance requirements. For immigration purposes, we know it is accepted for Canada because we get a lot of people applying for that. So it depends on what you're using the degree for.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go in a minute. I'm sorry. I've got.
It's okay. We are almost done with the question, guys. If you are left with any question, we have another session lined up for tomorrow with a local mentor in Pakistan. She will be able to answer you the rest of the questions. Thank you very much, Kate, for your time. I think we will be unable to complete it into time, considering there are a lot of questions that are coming up. You can send these questions on email as well, guys. So we will forward it to Kate, and she is going to respond you there. We have mostly answered all of your questions. Thank you very much, Kate. Any last words you want for the students?
I thank you so much, guys, for listening to me. Thank you, Sidra and ACCA Pakistan for providing the opportunity for me to talk to you. The BSc Applied Accounting is an amazing opportunity. It's a real opportunity for you to develop your own skills. Please take an appropriate amount of time and treat the degree with the appropriate foresight that you need to. Think about what you're going to be doing, think about how you're going to be working on it, work hard and use the resources that are available through OBU, and hopefully you'll be successful. I wish you the very best in your studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, students, for joining in, and see you in the session tomorrow. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.